Welcome once again to SoCo Chat, a podcast where we hear directly from county leaders, discuss the latest news, and talk about all things concerning our beautiful corner of California known as Sonoma County. Welcome back, everyone, to SoCo Chat. Once again, I'm your host, Paul Gullickson, Communications Manager for the County of Sonoma, and we thank you for joining us. Our topic today is the Sonoma County Regional Parks System and how we ensure the safety of park visitors while also protecting the natural environment as well as public access to the many programs and resources that our parks provide and we all enjoy. The Sonoma County Board of Supervisors recently voted to change the designation of regional parks rangers from peace officers to public officers. This modification was important because it was designed to help with the recruitment and retention of park rangers while also creating a more welcoming environment in our county parks. For one thing, this change now ensures that our park rangers do not need to complete the lengthy process of getting the peace officer background and certification process, which had become kind of a major barrier to hiring the otherwise qualified candidates. And to help with this transition and to keep our parks safe, the Regional Parks Department has partnered with the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office, which has created a new parks unit to take over law enforcement duties. Here to help us better understand more about this change is Sonoma County Sheriff Eddie Engram. Thank you, Sheriff Engram, for being with us today.
Of course.
But before we get to our interview, I want to start, as always, with our trivia question. Our question today is this: what is the largest park in the in the Sonoma County Regional Park System? Which is the largest park? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. And if you're correct, you'll be entered into our weekly drawing for a chance to win a special prize this week. Not only will you win a SoCo Chat coffee mug, but you will receive an annual Sonoma County Regional Park Pass, which is good for free admission to all of the county's regional parks. A big thank you to our friends at the Sonoma County Regional Park System for providing this special prize this week. And with that, let's get on with our discussion. Thank you, Sheriff. We appreciate you being here very much.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. When will the public start to see deputies patrolling the regional parks?
So deputies have been in the parks since August.
Oh, they've already been there. Okay.
So we've been there since August. We are staffing up the team. We have about half the team staffed right now, and in the coming weeks, the remainder of the team will come on board. So they've been in the parks, orientation with park staff, getting to learn the different parks in the system.
Okay. And what kind of duties are they performing while they're there?
Primarily patrolling. So, being visible, patrolling each park. Try to hit several parks in the system throughout the day. They also are responsible for the primary response for any sort of law enforcement calls that happen in any of the parks. And I think it's important to note that though we have the parks unit, when you contract with the sheriff's office, you get the entire sheriff's office, right? Yeah. So if our deputies assigned to the parks at the time is in Santa Rosa and an issue comes up at Maxwell Farmers Park in Sonoma, then the Sonoma Valley deputies will go to that call and stabilize the situation till the parks deputy is there to be able to take a report or whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, well, that's an important thing to note, that whoever's patrolling the park up here in Santa Rosa isn't driving all the way necessarily to Petaluma to deal with a problem there.
And they may need to get there to finalize it. So if there's an arrest that needs to come out of it or something like that, then they'll get there and they'll do all of the paperwork. But the deputies who are assigned to South County in the Petaluma area, they will be the ones to respond if they're the nearest responders.
Yeah. Now, you can't be patrolling all parks. So how do you choose which parks to focus on?
So the unit partners with parks to decide, where are their issues, where do they need to be, where their activities, where the activity is, where they need to spend their time. So the unit partners with regional parks to determine, where should they best spend their time.
So it sounds like there's a lot of coordination going on between you and the regional park system, right?
Yeah. So the principal ranger works daily with the sergeant who's in charge of the parks unit. Sometimes the lieutenant, depending on what the issue is. So there's daily communication about what the needs are in the regional parks.
Wait, so among the deputies themselves, will these deputies be assigned full time to the parks unit, or will there be kind of rotating between parks and other patrol duties?
No, no, they're all assigned to the parks unit. So they're when it's fully staffed, it'll be 4 deputies assigned fully to regional parks and a
Hmm.
sergeant who supervises them, all assigned to regional parks.
Okay. And what kind of training? I mean, what kind of training are they going through? Do they have extensive knowledge about the parks they're patrolling, or is that kind of accumulating with the more time they spend?
So there has been a little bit of training and orientation with regional parks and getting to know, what are the issues within the parks.
Hmm.
The one park may have one issue and another park may have another issue. Getting to understand where trails are. So as they become more familiarized with the parks, their knowledge base will grow, and there have been some opportunities for some training for park specific things with the regional parks department.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say up front that there has been some confusion about this transition. I mean, some have gotten the impression that the county's doing away with park rangers. That is not the case, right? I mean, park rangers are still going to be out there, and in many cases, they're going to be more free up to do their usual responsibilities, which is taking care of programs, doing ranger talks, environmental walks, those kinds of things.
Right, and I think that we really need to understand how we got here, and over the years we've had multiple issues with Joe Rodota Trail, and the park rangers, though they were classified as peace officers, they didn't really have the training to deal with those situations.
Right.
So eventually, after kind of going back and forth, it would ultimately end up falling on the sheriff's office, and in doing that, over the time, we would see that it would take sometimes weeks and sometimes months to deal with an issue there. And so, my idea in approaching the CEO and approaching Director Whitaker was, how can we deal with law enforcement specific issues within the park? Joe Rodota Trail was the most glaring example, but there are examples throughout the park system to where when there is truly a law enforcement need, that law enforcement officers respond. And the philosophy of the Parks Department isn't necessarily law enforcement focused, right?
Hmm.
They're focusing on the beauty and natural
Protecting the
wonders and protecting
beauty.
the
Yeah.
parks and knowing about the foliage and
Yeah.
different things, right? That's their focus. That's their
Yeah.
philosophy. The regional parks does not want to be the rangers to be law enforcement
Right.
officers,
Yeah.
because so even though there sometimes is a need for law enforcement in the parks, it's not the primary function or what they want the primary function of the rangers to be.
Yeah.
So that's really where we are. Park rangers will still be there. They will be, providing information to people who come into the parks. But when it comes to those truly law enforcement related activities, that'll be done by the
And
sheriff's
it's much
office.
clearer now.
Yes.
Like when issues like Joe Rodot Trail is a good example.
Yes.
It's clear you're going to be you and your team are going to be the
Right.
ones taking care of that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I do want to say, Bert Whitaker, you mentioned the director of Park System is going to come back on, and we're going to have a chance to talk with him more about what the park rangers are going to be doing. But I just wanted to clarify that part that they're very much involved, and they are obviously very much in interacting with you and your team as to what the roles of your deputies are.
Yes, that's correct. There's still park rangers will still be there. Will be involved. It'll be a truly county partnership.
Yeah.
In protecting our parks.
Well, let's go to the deputy's role in particular. What will happen now if there is a serious crime or emergency in a park?
So it really doesn't change fundamentally
Mhm.
of what it was before the change in the park ranger's job class. So if there was an issue, and Joe Rodota Trail is obvious example, but we can pick any other of number of parks. If there was an assault and battery, any sort of crime that took place in the park, what the park rangers would do is they would call the local law enforcement agency,
Mhm.
and depending on where that park is, it could have been Santa Rosa Police Department. If there's an assault on Joe Rodota Trail, which is in incorporated Santa Rosa,
Mhm.
the Santa Rosa Police Department would do that.
Yeah.
But or in Spring Lake, same
Mhm.
thing. But now what will happen, instead of park staff contacting Santa Rosa Police Department, they'll contact the sheriff's office, and we will investigate that crime. There's a recent example of that where a park storage container was broken into and several valuable items were stolen.
Mm.
And as I said, when you when you contract with the sheriff's office, you get the entire sheriff's office. Sheriff's deputies responded. They took the report. It went to our property crimes detective, and we were able to recover most of those items.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you have the experience in doing that.
Yes.
So, first of all, just to make it clear to the public, if you see a crime or a victim of a crime, you call 911,
Correct.
right? That doesn't change.
Yeah, no, you don't need to worry about the jurisdiction.
You don't need to who.
Yeah, who's who. We'll let
Yeah.
the dispatchers figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Rangers will know, how to coordinate with you, and if there's a response too, whoever's there, reach out to them.
Yeah, daily for the Rangers, nothing really changes. If there's a serious crime, they would report it to law enforcement. Depending on where they were, could be another agency. Now it's always going to be the sheriff's office. So it does provide some clarity in that standpoint.
So it does raise the question, have we had, have our parks previously had many instances of serious crimes or occasions where a ranger have had to draw a firearm? Or there hasn't been that many cases, has there?
Well, Rangers, to clarify that, Rangers previously, even though they were peace officers, they were not armed.
They were not armed. That's an important distinction.
They were not armed.
Thank you.
Which also plays into, though they were peace officers, they were not armed. And if there were serious issues, the Rangers didn't have the equipment to deal with that issue. So they would have to call on another law enforcement agency to deal with that, depending on what jurisdiction that park was in. There have been some serious crimes within parks. I hate to pick on Joe Rodota Trail,
Right.
but there have been homicides and assaults with deadly weapons. Since we've taken over the park, there's been one incident of an assault with a deadly weapon that we've had to take care of. So the parks are not dangerous in and of themselves. They're very safe places to be. But just
things happen.
Things happen. You can live in your house for 30 years and never be a victim of burglary, and there you are.
Right. Yeah. We just need to. But now it's much clearer and who's going to be addressing it and how quickly it'll be addressed.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I imagine this is kind of something out of my own curiosity, but I imagine some deputies may welcome the opportunity to work out in nature and be a part of this parks unit. How do the deputies feel about it? And if they've had some volunteer for this job?
There was a tremendous response. We didn't have to twist arms at all to get people to put in. There was an interview process, and Park sat in on the interview process with the person that we selected as the sergeant, and they were able to really pick the deputies who they felt best aligned with the Parks philosophy.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's fantastic. Well, and as you say, the deputies are already out there now. They're on patrol. This whole new system is already in place. And have you seen any problems in the transition so far?
No real problems in the transition. I think the only issue that we've had is getting it staffed as quickly as we would like,
Right.
but that's sort of a staffing issue within the office. Though we are fully staffed, we have a lot of people on a training program. So as we get people transitioning off the training program, then we're able to take those deputies who've already been selected and transfer them into the parks unit. And we anticipate that being done by the middle of November at the latest.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm just curious. This is a question we often ask our guests here on SoCo Chat, and I want to throw it to you. Do you have a favorite place that you like to go when you need to get away from the stress of the job? And
I do. It's not in the county.
you tend to get out of the county.
Yeah, I tend to get out of the county. My face ends up in the newspaper and on newsletters.
People recognize you.
People recognize me. So I do, every couple of months or so, I like to get out of town, mostly go fishing different places with my friends.
That's great. Lake fishing, ocean fishing?
We do a little river, and we do some ocean. A couple of months ago, we took a trip to Alaska and had a great time. Yeah,
little salmon.
Yeah, salmon. Brought back some salmon from the Kenai River.
Gosh.
I had a fantastic time.
That sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds right. Well, listen. Any other final thoughts about this program?
No, I think it's a great program. I think the residents of Sonoma County are going to see the value in it as time goes on. The only thing I would have to add is maybe a little plug to the Sheriff's Office newsletter. So if you go to the Sheriff's Office website, you can look and get our newsletter, and you can get monthly updates from our office. And then I believe next month we're actually talking about the Parks program.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be sure to share that on our newsletter as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being here, and as a thank you for being our guest, we'd like to present you with one of our SoCo Chat coffee mugs.
Thank you.
So, and to our listeners, we'd also like to give you a chance and win not only one of our SoCo Chat coffee mugs, but a free Parks Pass for a year. All you need to do is give us a correct answer to our trivia question. And if you get if we have more than one correct answer, you'll be placed in a drawing to see who is the winner. As a reminder, our question today is, what is the largest park in the Sonoma County Regional Park system? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. You submit your answer to us as soon as possible for a chance to win these great prizes. Also, if you have thoughts about this or any other segment or have a suggestion for a future topic for a SoCo Chat, please email us at that same address, publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you all, and we hope you continue to follow SoCo Chat on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and YouTube. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.